Hey guys, it's Mr. Covington. This is going to be the first in a series of poem explications. I know I'm not there and it's kind of rough, but I need to make sure that you're doing what you need to be doing. And today we will be starting off with a poem by William Carlos Williams called This Is Just to Say. What I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and download a copy from somewhere, print it out, make it so that you can mark it up. I will be placing probably this one, if I can find it again, on the Edmodo site, but please, by all means, don't wait for me to put it up. It's easy to find on the internet. Just a simple, this is just to say, in quotation marks, and William Carlos Williams, who is the author and poet, and you'll be able to find it pretty quickly. Okay? So, first thing I need you to do, go download it, print it out, read it through a couple times. Make sure you're reading it not only silently, but out loud as well. A lot of the sonic and metric devices we can't really hear in our minds as we read. We got to go ahead and read it out loud. So go ahead, read it a couple times, and I'll be back with an analysis. Okay, so hopefully you've read through it a couple times. You notice there's not a lot of difficult words or diction. Here's mine. I'm going to go ahead and use my notes to go over it. But like I said, William Carlos Williams, this is just to say. First, let's look at the title. This is just to say. It looks like it could be on the top of a notepad. Okay, this is just to say, and then you jot whatever you do down for memos. Okay, it's very reader friendly. It's got a lot of simple diction, and as we go through it, we're going to go ahead and go over some of it. So this is just to say, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet, and so cold. Okay, very simple. It's splitting up into 3 stanzas. There are 4 lines each. There is some enjambment going on, which means that the lines at the end, that's not where you stop. Actually, this is devoid of any punctuation at all. Okay, but we do have 3 distinct stanzas with 4 lines each. So I have eaten. Okay, let's go over the first line. Past tense. I would be the speaker. We don't know if it's William Carlos Williams or not, but we know that the speaker is the one who ate the plum, or ate something. In line 2, we figure out it's plums. The plums. Okay? It's a very vivid image. They're short lines. It allows you to go ahead and bring to mind all the images and the symbols he is evoking very readily and simply. Okay? The enjambment might make it seem choppy, and it might have taken you a couple times to read it smoothly all the way through because there is no punctuation. But they're right there, short little vignettes, if you want to call them that make up this poem. So, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox. So, I have eaten, past tense, we know that. I is going to be the speaker. Okay. And he ate these plums, which is our first image. Okay. Picture plum in your mind. I'm sure we have the same picture of what a plum is. Generally round, smaller than an apple, purple skin, sweet on the inside with a nice pit. So he's evoking feelings, he's evoking memories. Okay? That we're in. This is an interesting sentence, or a line split. That we're in. Okay, we know that the antecedent is the plum. They were obviously put somewhere purposefully. So this line shows purpose. Okay? They were put in. They weren't just left out. They were put in somewhere. Okay? There is intention into the action. There's also a lot of word economy here. Simple diction, nothing that we can't understand, and short, choppy, puts that picture right in our head. Okay? So, I have eaten the plums that were in. Where were they in? They were in the icebox. Okay? What is an icebox? Well, when William Carlos Williams was alive in the early 20th century, okay, icebox was exactly what it sounds. It's a box with ice. And it kept things cold. Okay? It was an early form of refrigeration. Okay? So, there were plums. They were in the icebox. They were put in the icebox probably to keep them cold and fresh. Okay, so there's intention. They were placed there, sure, fresh, ripe. Okay? So, stanza 1, we know he's eating the plums that were in the icebox. Okay, I go in my fridge all the time and I eat stuff. Why is that important? What makes this situation different than maybe the other times he's gone in there and eaten a plum or taken out the milk and take a drink from the carton? We don't know. So that's why we read on. And which you were probably saving for breakfast, okay? So, there's a careful word selection here. And which, okay, it sets up some sort of contrast, some sort of purpose for the icebox and the plums being in there. And which, okay, you were probably saving for breakfast. Interesting enjambment, okay? So, and which, we have careful word selection. He's tiptoeing through the poem. He's trying to make sure that he uses the right words. It's kind of like when you got to tell your parents some bad news. You word it very carefully to make sure that you put it just the right way. Okay, you kind of know something might, you might be in trouble. The speaker obviously knows that somebody might be upset, so he's trying to word things very carefully. Okay, so there's a lot of word economy. And it seems careful almost. You were probably. Okay, now, if they're in the icebox and they're not just sitting out on the counter, there's no probably about it. Okay, so he sets this up and we're probably, but there's no probably about it. He makes it seem like, oh, I didn't really know, so I ate it. I didn't know if that's what you really intended, but, in the back of his mind, he knows. Okay, these were put in the icebox for someone. They were maybe special plums. Maybe he knows that his housemate or partner likes their plums cold. He already knows. There's obviously a familiarity that he's writing a note to this person. Okay, so he knows. Saving, obviously, it's the shortest line in the poem. It's only 6 letters long. But it has huge meaning because the poems just weren't there accidentally. The poems weren't just some impulse buy at the local farmer's market or a pull off of a tree on the way home. Somebody put them there for a purpose. They were saved. Okay, these poems have a lot more meaning behind them than just regular fruit. Okay, so they were being saved. But the importance and that saving was ignored by our speaker. Okay, that's another important point. Speaker knows they're there for a reason. Speaker knows they're saved. But go ahead and intentionally eats them anyways. Okay. And lastly, for breakfast. Okay, this is a first time reference. The speaker's probably reading it in the morning when they went to go eat the plums they were planning on having and finding them gone. I can envision 2 scenarios. I can envision somebody coming in late at night, looking in the fridge for something to eat, seeing the plums and eating them, and then thinking, uh-oh, they were there for a reason. Or maybe the speaker in this poem got up earlier than the plum saver and ate them. But either way, there's intent. But we can also tell that the speaker's feeling a little guilty for his actions. Okay? I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. The speaker didn't have to leave a note. Obviously, if the plums weren't there, they were obviously eaten. There seems to be a little guilt and remorse coming out now. Okay? And as we go and transition to the next stanza, we can see that. Forgive me. Okay? Not a question. Not, can you please forgive me? It's a declaratory statement. It's a declamatory. Forgive me. Okay? So there is probably a little bit of regret there. Knows what he did was wrong and wants forgiveness for the act. But then he goes on to describe how delicious they were. They were delicious. Wait a minute. If you just ate the plums I was saving, and I'm upset with you, and you want me to forgive you, why are you telling me that they were so delicious? Why are you letting me know what I missed out on? Okay? His apology kind of turns a little insincere here. Okay, so I have, they were delicious. So sweet, rubbing it in a little bit more. Okay, but it's a relatable human experience. If you've ever eaten a plum and you've gotten that good one, and you bite into it, and oh my gosh, it's so good, and then it was so cold, so sweet and so cold. Okay, this is a relatable human experience. Okay, now, the intent of the speaker was to eat the plums, and then probably felt guilty and wrote the note. And then as he was remembering the plums, he thought, wow, they were really good. Okay? So yes, you saved the plums. Yes, they were in the fridge, and they weren't mine. But you know what? They were really good when I ate them. Okay? We start off this stanza with the appeal for an apology, and we end up with, hey, they were really good. Okay, so the apology goes south right after the first line. Okay. Overall, there is a familiarity about the speaker and the plum saver were familiar with each other, probably on an intimate level. By intimate, I don't just mean hopping in the sack. By intimate, I mean they shared each other's lives. They were close. The author or speaker is leaving a note for someone, though, so obviously they care about their feelings. They don't care about their feelings enough to not eat the plums. Okay. They also convey a sense of shared property. Yes, they were your plums, but they're kind of my plums too. We both live in the same house. I just ate them. Okay. We could break it down by stanzas. It's very simple. First stanza, it sets up what happens. Okay. So this is our antecedent scenario. Okay. What happens? A plum got eaten. Okay? That was our inciting event. Stanza 2 establishes the action was probably wrong. Okay, they weren't his plums that he put in the icebox. Okay, the plums were more stolen. And there was more than one plum. We have plums. There is plural. Why couldn't the speaker have just eaten one plum and saved the other one for the significant other I would put in this point? So the speaker says, you know what, these plums are so dang good, I'm going to eat more than one and not going to share any with you. Once again, another action with purpose. Okay? Third stanza is the false apology, where the speaker says, forgive me. But not really, because, you know what? Those plums were damn good. There's no regret. There is no remorse. There is only enjoyment in the act that they did wrong. Okay? Short poem. It seems like something you or I could write almost every day. What makes this a poem and what turns this into art is the arrangement of the lines, the enjambment that's present, the tone and the imagery that's conveyed in this with, very few words here. That shows a mastery of not only the English language, but of the poetry craft, that you can come up with something like this, so short, but separated across 3 distinct stanzas, and really a plot development. Okay? If you want to look at it on a plot chart, let's go. We have our background here, exposition, when the plums were eaten. We have a little bit of rising action. They were in the icebox, and then you were probably saving for breakfast. Okay, climax is right there with the forgive me. And then we have the denouement down here with they were delicious, so cold and so sweet. Okay, we also have a little bit of a tone shift right here in that, you know what? The contrite tone of the beginning, a little bit guilty, is turned around to, wow, that was really good. And we figure out that, maybe I shouldn't have eaten the plums, but they were good. And I'm going to go ahead and enjoy that. Okay? So, William Carlos Williams, this is just to say, poetical analysis. If you noticed, I did not use diddles. I did not use typecast or any of the others. It was just, I'm going to dive into this poem and get going. When you are in a situation, especially on the AP test, and you're time crunched, unless they're telling you specifically that they want tone or theme or how to relate, this is how you just dive into a poem. You start looking at it, okay? Hopefully we got that. If you didn't get one or two, go ahead and message me back. If you have burning questions about what's going on or didn't understand something, message me on Edmodo. Make it a public note so that everybody can see and everybody can respond to the question or my answers. All right? So, this is just to say goodbye.